Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna see what exactly is UiPath Integration Services. So this is a new component, not very new, but yeah, it's a component which was introduced into UiPath platform quite a years before. Um, so we will look into it, what exactly it does and what all feature it provides. So I'll quickly jump into the documents which were provided by UiPath. So this is on their docs.uipath.com portal, which clearly says that this is an component that makes the automation of third party application easier by standardizing the authorization and authentication and helping you to manage the API connections. So basically in this component, which is our integration services, there are three main parts which are connections, okay, which we second is connectors and third is trigger. So you can definitely take reference of this document which is available on the UiPath docs.uipath.com. But to actually show you how we can use it, I'll quickly jump into the orchestrator. So this is the orchestrator, and here you can manage what all services through the admin section. What all services you want to include, you can manage that. Okay, so what you need to do is select this, then under services you have to make sure you have integration services enabled. Okay, so if it is not, then you can enable it. So how you actually open integration services, you can click over here, then integration services is there, you have to click on it. And like we have already seen in this the document which was provided by UiPath, there are three components, which is connectors, connections and triggers. So connectors are a component which provides you connection, which provides basically a connection, the authorization and the authentication. So if we go by this, so if you see over here, it's clearly mentioned. So it makes the automation, the third party application much easier by standardizing authorization and authentication. Okay, so with connectors what we do, there are multiple pre-built connectors which you can find under UiPath orchestrator or integration services. You can see for multiple applications like Adobe PDF, Amazon Web Services, Box, Cisco, then Dropbox, Google Cloud, then OpenText also was there, Jira is also there. So there are so many pre-built connectors which you can find under, through which you can basically create a connection. So let me explain you what exactly these connections are. So let's take an example of a website where a registration form is there. You submit the data and the data actually gets stored into a database. Okay, so in that infrastructure, in that particular structure, what we need is a web browser which has this web form through which person enters certain things, it registers itself and then clicks on submit, and that information is directly stored into the SQL. So definitely there is an interaction between, I mean, there are two things which are integrated here, right? One is your website and the database. So to a SQL database, we use a connection string, right? A SQL connection string, which you might be already aware of. So similarly, to connect to an application, different type of applications, the UiPath has provided an option of connectors. So what we do, basically we connect to an application, a third party application, and then with that we can do multiple things. We can use that in our integration services to trigger a particular automation, and event based triggering also is possible with that. So as well as there are certain set of activities for such connectors which you can easily download through manage packages in your studio while you developed any use case. So let's quickly start with a connector. I'll quickly showcase you and demo with Gmail. Okay, so Gmail, let's say what it mentions here is a web-based email service. After connecting, automate your email, prioritize important new emails, send regular responses, or manage file attachments. All right, so this is a simple explanation about it. Let's connect to the Gmail. What we need to do is we need to just select your workspace. I mean, it's the location on your orchestrator, the different folders basically, and then allows it to access it, and the connection is success. Yeah, though it's connecting here, yeah, fine. So I'll quickly jump back to my workspace, and then under the connections there are pre-built connections over here. So let's not go ahead with these one. We'll quickly check into Gmail. So let's continue with the Gmail. Let's check the connection first. Yeah, so it is connecting. The connection is success. Now you can see edit connection is there, manage triggers are there, delete and check connection. Check is to check the status, edit is to edit any configuration change in this, and then is the manage triggers. So triggers, what exactly these are? So triggers, what you can do, you can actually on an event, let's say I'll just show you like what exactly you can do. So let's select a connector. So we defined already a Gmail connector, so I'll select a connector and it automatically picks the connection. Okay, so this is the email ID through which we connected, and the event, on which event you want to actually trigger your automation. Okay, so this is trigger. We are defining a trigger like whenever, suppose, let's say okay, email is received. Okay, so whenever there is an email received in the Gmail inbox, it should trigger an automation. Okay, so and also there is a condition also which you can add, like a data filtration over the email. Let's say I want to only trigger a process when I am getting an email from someone. Okay, let's say XYZ person. Okay, for now we will not include, or let's say I'll include this. Okay, um, from contains, let's say contains outlook.com. Okay, I will send it through my other email ID, so I'll just add this condition. Fine, so we have added this condition, and then we'll click on add condition. This we have added, and or also is there. You can, when multiple conditions you can apply, or and you can do that, but currently we'll go ahead with this condition. Now it says we need to trigger an automation process. Okay, it shows all the processes which are hosted, okay, in your tenant. You can see it's under the folder default, it's there in the shared, it's there in my personal workspace. So let's quickly build a workflow, a simple workflow. Let's say we will this particular process will trigger once we have an email, and it will actually show you the body as well as the subject of that email. So let's do it. So how and what we need to do here? So we need to actually use a scope because we are connecting it to Gmail. So let's use a Gmail scope over here. Account. So here you could see we are not getting any account, but what we need to do to get these accounts are under the property section. We need to enable this use integration service. Okay, if I hover it, it says that use the integration service to authenticate to the service. Okay, let's say I am using this authentication service, and the timeout here is is mentioned in seconds. So this is fine, we'll leave it as it is for now. Okay, so the reference of this account, okay, this is an account which is our Gmail account, and the reference of that is currently stored into Gmail. We can change the variable as well, but for now let's keep it as it is. Then one main important thing is basically that whenever you want to trigger an automation, okay, whenever you want to trigger an automation through a trigger, okay, which is integration services trigger, there are 4 arguments which you need to take. These are in arguments, which means input arguments. So these are those arguments. One is UiPath event connector, one is UiPath event, one is UiPath event object type, and one is UiPath event object ID. So these are the mandatory arguments with which whenever your process executes, you can get the information of that particular event or who actually triggers. If you want to get the detail of that event, you can use this event ID to get the detail of that event. Okay, so I have already defined those arguments, but it's not visible. I can show you like how I have actually defined it. So let's say I will quickly put activity, let's say assign to show you, just to show you that the arguments are already defined, but it's not showing here in, oh, sorry, not in, it's UiPath. Okay, so UiPath event, UiPath event connector, UiPath event object ID, and UiPath event object type. So you need to define them in the same way, in the same you know you need not to change it like in underscore. I think you have to keep it, define them in the same pattern like what I have defined here. So okay, for now I'll just quickly delete this. Okay, so what we have now is we have a scope of Gmail, and we have connected to our account, and what we want is to get the details of the email whenever we are receiving an email in our Gmail inbox. So we're gonna use another activity. So they, like I told you, there are certain predefined, the activities under the packages which you can install the packages, and then um, with this you can easily automate any third party application. So integration services, integration. So Google Vertex is there, by Microsoft Vision, Box is there. So all of them are there, right? Similarly, we have included for let's say G Suite is there, plus yeah, this is G Suite. I think we are only using Gmail, so that's fine. I mean, this is what we are using currently. So let's quickly jump into this back, and let's get email by ID. Let's use, so this is the integration. Okay, under the integration, Gmail and Outlook, and then you have to drag this over here. All right, so account. So it asks for the account. Account is nothing but our reference variable which we got here. So let's put that here, Gmail. Okay, and then email ID. Email ID is our UiPath event object ID. Okay, so whenever there is an event triggered automation from integration services, the detail of that ID would be in this particular argument. So what we did basically in the main, which is our main flow, the project's main entry point, we have defined input arguments, 4 input arguments, which will actually takes the input of, I mean, which will takes the event detail. Okay, so this is the argument which will which will store basically the event ID. Now we will store this event. I mean, what we are getting, we are reading an email, so we will get an mail body. Okay, so mail body means, which means the object of mail message. So we have already created a variable of type mail message. I'll just store the details in mail detail. Okay, so we got the details as well. We have connected here, and we fetch the email. Now what we want to do is, we will, let's say, we'll log this, or we'll show a message box. Okay, let's not log, and we'll show you a message box. In message box, what we want is, let's say, mail detail dot body, sorry, and then we will concat it with the let's say at the rate. Okay, 4 @ and then plus we will add like mail dot details is our mail message dot subject. Okay, so this is what is we are gonna write in our message box. So this is done. So simple thing, what we did is we used an scope, I mean the Gmail scope, plus we actually get the email ID, I mean the email detail with the event ID, which is UiPath event object ID, and then we are just showing the message box. Let's publish it to the orchestrator so that we can actually select that automation in our trigger. Okay, so in this scenario, what will happen basically, whenever there is an email, it will automatically trigger. You need not to keep your bot running to check the emails. So whenever there is an email, it will actually trigger the process. Okay, so now let's select the process here. Yeah, so this is our process. I will non-production, I will select unattended over here. Email received, fine, from contains Outlook. Okay, so it will only trigger when we receive an email from outlook.com, I mean which contains outlook.com. Okay, fine, so let's add the trigger. One more thing which I would like to explain you guys over here is, let's go back to my connections. Okay, so what it does in background is we are just no, second. Yeah, so let's correct. So what we need to do, manage, we need to click on manage trigger. Again, we need to go back to connection and then click on three dots and then manage trigger. So here you can see it says checking for event every 5 minutes. Okay. So what it does is the orchestrator, I mean the integration services which we have defined over here in UiPath, this thing, it actually checks for email in the Gmail every 5 minutes. Okay, so let's change it. We can click on it. It's in pooling interval time. So this will affect all the triggers that use this integration service check for event immediately after updating pool interval. Okay, so this is 5 minutes. Okay, we will change it to, let's say, every 2 minutes and then update and check. Alright, so which means my integration service in every 2 minutes it will check if there is any email received, and it will trigger the automation if an email is triggered, or sorry, if an email is received in the email, it will trigger the automation. Okay, so now to test this, as we have everything ready, we have deployed the package to the orchestrator. Also, we have configured the trigger. Okay, I will quickly go to the trigger as well, and this is the trigger. So it clearly says connector Gmail, contains Outlook, and then process to start is this, and these are the input arguments. So let me quickly send an email from my personal email ID. Let me just okay, this email is for let's okay, subject, let's say testing integration, and let's say 28th September, and I will write hi YouTube family, this is for testing. Okay, meantime I'll quickly show you my inbox as well. There is no email, so I'll quickly send this email and then I will just show you how this bot automatically gets triggered. So I have already sent an email. Okay, and as we have already defined the pooling interval of 2 minutes, yeah, you could see we got the email, YouTube family, this is for testing. Okay, so what happens now is the integration services, it will automatically pool. Okay, it will automatically pick the email, it will automatically trigger the, or the bot. See, currently no process is running. I could actually show you through this as well. No process is currently executing. Okay, so these is quite a long time before, an hour before. So it will automatically now trigger the bot. Okay, so let's jump into the orchestrator now. We can actually see how it's been triggered. Let's okay, quickly type into this. All right, so you see guys, the automation has already triggered. If you can see the icon below, yeah, so like it say, it's YouTube family, hi, this is for testing, it's sent from Outlook. So yes, so if you can see here, this is the email which I have sent, and this actually came from the Outlook, so it was able to, the bot was able to trigger. And let's say if I sent an email, I'll send an email to myself here. Okay, so let's say I'm sending an email to myself, let's test, and then again test and send. In this scenario, this won't execute, the process won't execute, because we are just sending it through Gmail, not through our um, Outlook ID, right? So parallelly I'll send another email, so it will only show you the emails from Outlook. Okay, so second test would be the subject, and this is testing. integration. All right, so I have sent another email. All right, so nothing is running. Okay, we got the second test email as well from Outlook. Now the bot should actually trigger, and I was about to show you the orchestrator, right? So it is loading. We'll go to the automation, then the jobs. Yeah, if you see the UiPath Integration Service demo, this is the demo package which we have selected. It got executed, and the source of trigger is the event trigger. Okay, so it executed on my host. Uses the slash. Now you see it actually started for the another one. So yeah, the process again started because it receives the email and starts the process which we have deployed. So this is testing integration. Okay, second test was the subject of the mail. Alright, so this is what is integration services. Okay, this is a very basic demo. There are multiple connectors which are available. You can utilize any of those connections to interact with that application. There is so much you can do with this. So I would request each and every one of you to try this out and see what all you can do with all the available connectors, as well as if you want you can also create your own connector within particular application. Okay. This is also very much possible, but I will not deep dive into that part now. We'll come back with another video on that, but for now this is what is integration service, a basic demo on it. Thanks for watching, and I would really apologize for the delay. Like, we have not posted any video from last 3 months, um, but we will definitely make sure to post videos, at least a video in a week or two in a week. But for that, we'll need your support. Thanks, guys. I would really appreciate your support. Thanks. Do like, subscribe to my channel.